Alright guys, today we're here to do another exciting video on the Infinity Game Table, and today is a really exciting time for all of us who have owned the Infinity Game Table because one of two, I should say, of the games that we've all been looking forward to since the start that was listed on the Kickstarter campaign is Pandemic, and today is a day it has been released. And not only has it been released to the Kickstarter backers as well, but this is the first game that's actually been brought to the Infinity Game Table with actually being a paid option. So those of us who got the tables at Best Buy and stuff like that where it's already been released, Pandemic wasn't one of the included. It was a Kickstarter exclusive game that came with for the Kickstarter backers, not for the people who got it at Best Buy. So this is the first time we're seeing a game actually being on their store that you actually have to pay for. As you guys are seeing here, it is $10 for Pandemic on the Infinity Game Store. And the reason that that's exciting for me is because they finally have their store up, and that means that we're going to start seeing all those third-party developers that have been waiting for the store to be actually active so they can put their games on there and start charging, because of course once third-party developers start making stuff, they're going to start charging for their stuff. It's exciting because that means we're going to start getting more games from third-party because they can actually charge for their stuff now, so that's why I'm excited that their first game on there is available. And for the Kickstarter backers who got this game, they sent a code out that's for your account specifically, so check your emails if you're a Kickstarter backer, and then we'll show it here. I'll show you guys how to redeem it and everything, because I haven't redeemed mine yet, and we're going to do it here together. There was a couple of other things that released over the last month and a half or so since I've done the last video. They even released the Halloween screensaver stuff, which is pretty cool if you guys want to have your tables out for a Halloween party. They released a couple of other games as well that we're going to be taking a quick look at. But of course, we're here today to talk mostly about Pandemic and see how it's brought to life on the Infinity Game Table. Let's go ahead and get into the video.
Gaming tech, eating brekkie is the gaming tech. Going for a brekkie is the gaming tech. Gaming tech is the gaming tech. Gaming techie.
Alright guys, so here we are with the Infinity Game Table. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the things that they released before we get into Pandemic, and I'll show you guys how to, how the code redeeming works and all that kind of stuff. So, you can see here on the main interface, you can see Pandemic is available, and it does say $9.99, so for those of you guys who got your tables at Best Buy, you can go ahead and purchase it for $9.99, and you can see here how that works here. One of the other things that they released as well, as we talked about, is Dizzy Tanks. So Dizzy Tanks was released. It's a 4-player game. So if we go ahead and open this up, let's go ahead and take a look at what Dizzy Tanks is like. You can see you can select up to 4 players. I'm just going to go ahead and select one for now. You can see it has different class modes. You got the Classic, you got Capture the Flag, and you got Deathmatch, and each one has its own kind of maps that you can do. I'm just going to go ahead and do Classic for now, and I'm going to go ahead and choose this map right here. And here's Dizzy Tanks. So Dizzy Tanks is your cart's always rotating, and depending on where you actually move, and I just got killed, is where you actually see your actual tank go. So you can see we're playing against the AI here. There is AI playing here. We're going to go ahead and go again. And we're going to die again. But you can see that basically your tank is always dizzy. It's moving around in a circle, and you kind of just press the button on the side when you actually want to go forward, depending on which direction it's facing. So it's kind of like the tank is always spinning. Then you press this, and it goes forward, and then it also takes a shot. So something to get used to. But it works much better on a table like this than some of the other games that they brought over, just because of the nature of a 32-inch screen. So it definitely works pretty well. And I still lost. Actually, I think we both killed each other on that round. I got the green player, though. No. But yeah, you guys get the idea. So this is a fun 4-player game that you guys can play on the Infinity Game Table called Dizzy Tanks. Check that one out. The next thing we're going to talk about is the Halloween interface that we talked about before. So this is the Halloween app that just came out, and basically all it is like a tablecloth app that they've had before, but now for Halloween theme. So if you click on something like this, it has like little sound effects and a little video playing, showing that on the table, which is pretty cool if you're having a Halloween party and you just want to leave this out. That's pretty cool. Then you just tap it and go back. They have a bunch of other ones, this being my favorite. I like the sound effects, and I like, the hands and stuff being out there. I think this one looks really cool. Here's another one here. This one doesn't look that bad. This one looks pretty good. Here's a frog just chilling in the pot there. We got some apples here. This one looks pretty good as well. And unfortunately, my least favorite is this one. And not because I don't think it's cool. I think it's cool that a skeleton's coming towards you. I just think this is, out of all the other ones that you saw that look really clear, this one for some reason looks really fuzzy. Like, you can easily tell that the video is like has a bunch of artifacts on it and stuff, which just kind of takes away from, you know, the cloth and stuff. So that's my least favorite. But the other ones look really good. Like, you can't really tell that this one looks pretty clear, and it doesn't look like artifacts are all over the place like the other one. Just like this one also looks good too. But like I said, that skeleton one doesn't look as good as the others. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about Pandemic. So you can see here that there's a redeem button at the top. I haven't redeemed my code yet, and it tells you to enter your redemption code. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in here. Now that I have my code entered there, I just go ahead and hit submit. There you go, free game download. This code entitles you a free copy of the game Pandemic. You go ahead and hit redeem, and it immediately starts downloading to your table just like that. And there you go, now it's installed. Now you can go ahead and find it in your apps. Of course, everything is alphabetical. And there's Pandemic, so we can go ahead and hit that. And here it is, Pandemic. So you can go ahead and play the training mode. You can go ahead and just hit play. You got some options here. You can go ahead and check the rule book. You got the music and sound effects. You can enable character animation, stuff like that. You could pull up the rule book as well if you want. And this tells you a little guide on how to actually play the game, the overview, the introduction. Here on the side, you can also select the difficulty. You can see the 3 bars there. So if you go ahead and tap that, you can go ahead and see how many epidemics there's going to be in the game. So you can either add or remove some. So you can make it 6, which is heroic difficulty, or the training, or novice, or introductory with 4. Standard game is 5, and then heroic is 6. So you can go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and leave it at training for the time being. And we're going to go ahead and hit play. It says, welcome to Pandemic. In your first game, the settings will be suitable for new players. With your team, save humanity from 4 deadly epidemics. So for those of you guys who haven't played this before, this is a cooperative game. You could play solo, but it's a cooperative game. And you basically have a giant map, and there's a bunch of diseases happening all over the world. And you're trying to run around curing all 4 of these diseases before the 4 epidemic cards show up, or depending on how many epidemic cards you actually, put into the deck. 4 deadly diseases are spreading around the world, and these are the deadly diseases right up there. The situation is critical in San Francisco, Lima, and Sydney. So it starts the game off by kind of distributing some of the disease tokens. As you can see here, those are how many disease tokens there are, and if you ever get to 0 on any of those, if you're not taking care of a certain color and you let them spread all over the world and it ends up getting to 0, then you're going to end up losing because, an epidemic basically across the world, and that disease kind of, eradicated humanity in a sense. And, so you can't let those dials for those certain colors ever get to 0 up here, because if they ever do, then you lose. And that's only one of the ways you can lose. So it says find the cure for each 4 of these diseases quickly. So in this tutorial game, it's kind of showing us the scientist and the researcher. You could, of course, do this. If you were playing with more people, you can choose your characters, and they each have their own ability. So it's up to you on what you actually want to do here. It says, treat diseases cubes to prevent the spread. So you have to go ahead and treat those cubes we were just talking about. Treat the first disease cube, treat a second cube, and treat the third cube. So you can see that my girl starts right here in Atlanta. She's a scientist. She starts first. So we're going to go ahead and move over here as our first one. And then here at the bottom, we're going to go ahead and hit treat. So we treated one of the cubes. Then we're treating the second cube. And after we treated that second cube, you can see there is still a cube left, but we don't have any more actions left because all 4 of my actions were taken up by moving 2 spaces and curing the other 2 cubes. So I would, at this point, finish my turn. And the next person would go after the board draws the new cards here. And then it infects the cities after everyone's turn. So a new city's been infected now. It's Istanbul. And now the next person would go. So now the researcher's going. The researcher is sitting where? So she is right in the same spot. So we're just going to go ahead and follow the tutorial. So we're going to move her over to San Francisco so we can go ahead and cure the 3rd disease. And then we're going to go ahead and treat. And you can see all 3 have been treated in San Francisco. Combine all of your knowledge in a single hand. Move all of your team members into the same city. Share a city card with your scientists. Collect 4 cards of the same colors. So in this game, the way that it happens with sharing city cards and stuff, the whole goal of the game is to, like I said, eradicate those 4 diseases that are happening in the world. The way you do that is you have to collect 4 of the same cards of the same color. and then you bring it to a research station, and that's basically how you research a disease. And then you bring that research to a disease. You bring that research and the cure to the research station, and then it gets cured, and then you basically eliminate one of these colors and one of these cures, and the whole point is to do that 4 times for all 4 different colors. So that's why you can, if you're on the same space, you can go ahead and share a city card. So since they're both on the same space right now, I could use one of my actions here, my last action, which is sharing a card. So you can see here, I can share any of these cards with the other player. Let's say it was either this yellow or the black one, whichever one I wanted to share. You can see here that they have 2 yellow cards, 2 black cards, a red, and a blue. So really, it doesn't really matter which one I share because each player has 2 yellow and 2 black. So either one of them can get these cards. But I'm going to go ahead and share this yellow one with them. And then you can go ahead and finish your turn. And then you would just hit finish. And then the drawing phase happens again where it goes ahead and draws more cards and infects the city. So it's infecting more cities with these cubes. And the infection rate is currently at 2. As you can see here, that's why 2 cards are being played, because that's the current infection rate. So again, we can go ahead and share cards. Now for this person, I'm actually going to share cards, but I'm going to share it the opposite direction. So I'm going to share the black with them. So I'm going to share this black card here. And they have too many cards in their hand, so we have to get rid of a card. So let's go ahead and say that we get rid of blue, since it's the one color that we don't have a lot of. We're going to go ahead and share another card here. So we're going to go ahead and grab the black card here. As you can see, now this player does need to get rid of another card here. We're going to go ahead and get rid of the red card over here. So we'll get rid of that red card. And now it says take your knowledge to a research station, as we talked about, develop the cure. So you can see we have 4 of the black cards, which means that we can now cure this disease here. So now we're at a research station, which is our home base. And then we're actually going to cure the disease that I was talking about. Now that we're at a research station. So now we're hitting the cure button. We have all 4 black. That disease has been cured. So now you can see that there's a check mark up there. So that black one has been saved, and we have a cure for the black disease. So 1 check off. So you can see that to save humanity, you have to do that basically for all 4 diseases around the map. And something else to point out here is that if you're playing this cooperative and there's a person on the other side of you, and each person basically, because you could play this single player as I'm doing right now, but the idea is that everybody's a character. If you're playing, like, with 2 people right now, someone would be the scientist, I would be the researcher, and you'd be taking your turns. You could flip the board as you're playing, so when the other person's turn goes, you just press the flip button and then it flips to that side. Then when you come over here, it flips back this way. So there's a nice little flip button right here that you can flip the table anytime. So if someone's playing on that side with a player, you're playing on this side, you can easily rotate it around. So you could zoom in anytime you want by just kind of doing one of these. So you could zoom into an area. If you're looking around, you can kind of pan around, look around the whole entire map. And then you can kind of press the zoom out button if you want to go back to normal state so you can see the whole map and stuff. So pretty cool, and the game seems to work really well on here. Like I said, this functionality is awesome. The fact that you can rotate the table really easily, so if you're playing with multiple people and not playing solo. But this game lends itself to definitely playing solo really well, but also can play with other people. You can definitely ramp up the difficulty. This is obviously just a tutorial. That's why it's showing us what to do. Obviously, in a normal game, it wouldn't be showing you what to do, but the idea is the same. You have to cure all 4 diseases. You can ramp up the difficulty and make the infection rate worse than what it was before, and, add more epidemic cards in there, so when they come up, it creates an epidemic on the world. So you could definitely make the game harder if you want to. You could add more players. You could play with 2, but you could play with up to 5. So a lot of good stuff in here and a lot of good ways that this was implemented. It looks really good on the table. So this one's a solid one on the Infinity game table. And when you exit back to the main screen, if you were in the middle of a game, it's kind of, even though you just quit, even though there's no save functionality like some of the other games, there is technically it does save in here. Basically, when you quit the game, even though it doesn't tell you, once you quit it and you hit play again, it prompts us up and says, do you want to resume the current game? You could resume or start a new game. Now, if you start a new game, of course, it wipes out the other one and you're done. There's only like 1 save slot in a sense. But you could hit resume and continue that game that you were playing, or you could just hit cancel and then go back to it at a different time. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that look into Pandemic and Dizzy Tanks and the other experiences that got brought over to the Infinity game table over the last month and a half. Really, really cool how the Pandemic game was brought. It's kind of how I imagined it. I'm glad that they added the functionality where you can actually rotate the board depending on where you're sitting, because that's really important. Of course, being a cooperative game. And, I think it turned out really, really well in the Infinity game table. Runs well, it looks good. It seems that all the functionality is there for all of us who are used to playing Pandemic. Dizzy Tanks was really fun. The fact that they brought over the Halloween, screensavers and stuff is pretty cool. So you can have that out while you have a Halloween party, and they look really cool on the Infinity Game Table. Some look better than others, but regardless, I'm glad that they're here. And yeah, I'm excited to see what comes up next. Of course, we still have Ticket to Ride that was mentioned in the Kickstarter. That's coming soon here as one of the things. So that will be the next big title that we know about that's coming to the Infinity Game Table. They even recently announced as far as the first third-party, companies that are coming to the Infinity Game Table and bringing their tables over. So I'm excited about that and see what they do. So we'll look forward to that. So if you guys want to see those future videos talking about the Ticket to Ride game and talking about other games coming to the Infinity Game Table, make sure you hit that subscribe button and follow me for all future content. Other than that, guys, if you guys have any questions, as always, leave it down below. If not, thank you guys for watching. Until next time.